Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto discovered the real curse of Kyuubi and became Konohagakure's Dark Avenger? Part 3, Naruto times Shizune, Demons of Konohagakure. Oh. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this and comment for next part. And now let's start the fanfic. Next match. Haku vs Choji Akamaiki, Hayate said to her. Haku smiled as she nodded. Haku went down to the field as Choji appeared also. Hayate put his hand down. Hajime, he said to them. Choji smiled as he started. Nikuden Sensha, he yelled as his body rolled at Haku. Haku smiled as she took out her Senbou needles. Useless, I am too quick for that, she said as she disappeared, causing everyone to gasp, especially Sasuke. Choji lost track of her as he realized he was encased in a dome of ice walls. Sorry Choji-san, Haku said as her kunai slammed into his rolling body. Haku smiled as she formed some water. Sensatsu Susho, 1,000 needles of death, Haku yelled as the water formed into ice needles and shot at Choji. Choji screamed as the needles stuck to his body. Choji fell down unconscious. Hayate went over and looked at him. Winner. Haku, Hayate said with a cough. Haku nodded as she went back upstairs. Naruto and his team gave a shout of victory as they smiled. Suddenly they all saw Sasuke walk over to Haku. Look here girl, I am an Uchiha, and therefore I give you the honor of being my wife and bearing my children, Sasuke told her. Haku looked at him in confusion as she tried to fathom what he just said to her. Naruto sighed as he rolled his eyes. Kiba scowled at Sasuke, and Shizune narrowed her eyes. Anko narrowed her eyes at Sasuke. Everyone who could hear, waited for Haku's response, even the Jonin and the Hokage. Haku suddenly smirked as she leaned on Naruto and kissed his cheek. So sorry Uchiha, but this is my man, I would rather die than settle for anything less, she said with a smile. Almost everyone laughed as they heard Haku's response. Sasuke seethed as he walked back to his group. Kakashi narrowed his eyes as he walked to the girl. Naruto's eyes turned to slits as he saw the copy ninja advance towards their group. Here was the Uchiha's loyal dog, who bent over for his master. He always talked about friends and not abandoning them, but he was the main person who did just that in the future. Naruto could almost kill him, but resisted the intense urge. Haku was it? He asked with a sheepish grin. Haku turned to him and looked at him. Yes sir, she asked. Kakashi sighed. With all due respect, please reconsider Sasuke's proposal. He is a good boy and a powerful genin. I do believe that he would be the perfect husband for you instead of Naruto, Kakashi said, trying to show Naruto some humility. Taian was failing badly at it. Haku narrowed her eyes at him. Was he telling her who she could love? Did he just say that Sasuke was better than Naruto? Haku seethed as she looked at the man still smiling. Listen here Kakashi, was it? I don't love the Uchiha and I never will. I love Naruto-kun and I won't tolerate people berating the man I love. Now get out of my presence before I turn you into a human refrigerator, Haku threatened. Kakashi and everyone widened their eyes at Haku as Naruto's group smirked. Kakashi narrowed his eyes, but nodded. Yes sorry Haku, he said as he left. Naruto smiled as he looked at her. Didn't know you loved me so much, Naruto told her. Haku looked at him and smiled. Ah Naru-kun, of course I love you. You are the only man I need, Haku told him. Naruto smiled as he kissed her. Hayate coughed as he brought everyone back to the match. Next match. Temari vs Tenten, he said as the weapons mistress and the wind mistress came down. Naruto smiled as he watched. He turned to his group. You guys know that we do need a person to make weapons for us, Naruto told them. Everyone nodded, as Anko smiled. You suggesting our weapons mistress down there? She asked. Naruto smiled. Maybe I am, Naruto told her. As they talked everyone turned back to see that the match was over with Tenten over Temari's fan. Winner. Temari, Hayate said to them. Tamari flung Tenten off her fan as she went upstairs, not before winking at Naruto. Naruto sighed as he smiled at her. I think I attracted the wind mistress also, Naruto told them. Everyone turned to see Tamari staring at Naruto. Haku, Shizune, and Anko sighed while Kiba gave Naruto a thumbs up. Everyone turned back to see the board. Next, Shikamaru vs. Kin, Hayate said to them. Naruto gave Kin a thumbs up as she blushed, but went to fight Shikamaru. Man, why is it a girl? Shikamaru asked. Kin twitched. You saying there is something wrong with a girl? She asked. Shikamaru shrugged his shoulders. You know what? I give up, this is a pain, he said with a yawn. Kin scoffed as she walked back upstairs. Winner. Kin, Hayate said to them. Everyone's jaw dropped to the ground as Asuma complained, to which Shikamaru ignored. The board lit up again. Ino Yamanaka vs. Kiba Inuzuka, Hayate called. Kiba smiled as he jumped down. Ino smiled also as she jumped down. Listen, dog breath, I am going to win this fight, Ino told him. Kiba smirked as he set Akamaru down. Just try it, you damn flower-loving bitch, Kiba said to her. Knowing Naruto's memories, Kiba saw that Ino was one of the main reasons Sasuke abandoned Kiba and left him to die. Knowing that pissed Kiba off to no end as he looked at her. Hajime, Hayate said to them. Kiba smiled as he charged Ino. Ino managed to dodge Kiba's charge, but he was too fast and grazed her shoulder. Kiba smirked as he let out some smoke bombs. Ino coughed as she tried to see in the smoke. You hiding, Kiba? Ino teased. Kiba scoffed. Not really. Gatsuga, fang over fang, Kiba shouted as he and Akamaru teared up the smoke and Ino inside. Everyone waited for the smoke to clear as they saw a battered Ino on the ground. Kiba smiled as he picked her up by the collar. Maybe you will think before abandoning me, he said as he tossed her to Hayate. Winner. Kiba Inuzuka, Hayate coughed. The board lit up again. Naruto Uzumaki vs Dozu, Hayate said. Naruto smiled as he looked at a trembling Dozu. Dozu couldn't handle the pressure or the fear and called to the proctor. Proctor, I give up, Dozu said to him. Everyone wondered why he would give up. Hayate looked at him suspiciously, but nodded. Winner. Naruto Uzumaki, Hayate said to them. Naruto nodded as he stayed back on the railing. Well, that was anticlimactic, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded as they looked at the board. Next match. Neji Hyuga vs. Hinata Hyuga, Hayate said to them. Both went down as they faced each other. You are a loser and you always will be a loser, you cannot change that, Neji told her. Hinata smiled with a sudden brim of confidence as she activated her Byakugan. Then you shouldn't have much to worry about, Neji-ni-san, Hinata said as she charged him. Neji smiled as used his Byakugan also. Both went through a series of air palms as blue chakra blowed out of their hands as they tried to strike the other. Neji cursed for not being able to beat Hinata faster. Damn, how can she move so fluently? Neji wondered. Hinata shot forward as she managed to strike Neji in the shoulder. Neji cursed as he jumped back and gripped his shoulder. Damn it, he said. Hinata smirked. What's wrong, Ni-san? You look like you are having some trouble, Hinata told him. Shut up. You are a failure, Neji said as Hinata disappeared. Naruto and his group gasped. Hinata was never that strong, in fact it took her 3 years to attain that speed, Naruto told them. Everyone turned to him in disbelief as they looked back at the match. Hinata reappeared behind Neji as she began to spin. Neji countered her move with his own as they collied and yelled. Kaden, they yelled as their opposite techniques clashed and exploded the arena. Everyone covered their eyes as the smoke settled down. Everyone saw Hinata standing over an unconscious Neji. Looks like you fail, Neji-ni-san, Hinata said to him. Hayate stood up over Neji. Winner. Hinata Hyuga, Hayate said. Hinata smiled as she walked back to the balcony. Naruto walked up to her. Nice job, Hinata-chan, Naruto told her. Hinata suddenly blushed seeing his face and looked down. Thank you, Naruto-kun, Hinata said as she squirmed back to her group. Hayate sighed. Next match. Kankuro vs Shino, he yelled. Kankuro cursed his luck and looked at the proctor. Proctor, I give up, he said him. Hayate coughed. What is with all of the forfeits today? He wondered. Winner. Shino Aburame, Hayate said to the bug user. Shino looked unenthusiastic as he laid back in depression. Hinata smiled as she went to comfort Shino. Last match. Sabaku no Gara vs Rock Lee, Hayate called out. Lee smiled as he jumped off the railing. Gara smiled as he sunshined in the sand. Hajime, he said to them. Lee charged Gara and attempted a kick, but it was blocked by a wall of sand as Gara stood still. Lee smiled as she tried to bypass the and, but to no avail. Lee was getting frustrated as he saw his attack were of no use. Gara used his sand to sweep Lee of his feet and propelled him into a wall. Lee smiled as he climbed out of the concrete. Sorry Guy-sensei, Lee said as he took of his weights. The weights made a loud crash as they came down. Lee smiled. Ah, finally, now the fun can begin, Lee said as he disappeared. Gara widened his eyes as he heard an impact behind him. He turned, but saw nothing. Then he heard a crash to the side, he still saw nothing but green blurs. Gara was sent across the field as Lee managed to connect a punch to Gara's face. Gara made a crazy look at he smiled. Yes, this is what it means to be alive, Gara said to Lee. Gara's sand covered the area as Lee managed to dodge the strikes. Gara was feeling more and more thrilled as his sand went over the arena. Lee managed to disappear again as he kicked Gara into the air. Gara gasped as Lee pushed him higher and higher away from his sand. Lee wrapped his cloths around Gara as he began to spin. Omid Renge, primary lotus, he yelled as he and Gara spiraled down. They hit the sand as Lee struggled to stand. Gara was seen with cracks on his face as he began to pound Lee with his sand. Lee now knew he would lose if he didn't use it. Lee sighed as he charged his chakra. Lee's body began to change as his muscles tightened and his skin turned red. Lee looked at Gara and disappeared. This is my power. With this I will win, Lee said as he slammed Gara in the back and disappeared. Lee began this process until the two were in the air with Gara getting hishanded to him by the green beast. Gara seethed as he knew he couldn't defend against such speed. Lee smiled as he slammed his foot into Gara's stomach. Ura Renge, hidden lotus, he yelled as they slammed into the ground causing a massive explosion. Lee couldn't even stand as he looked at Gara. Gara looked at him and stretched his hand out. Soon the sand went to get Lee as it surrounded his body. Lee cursed as he tried to get away but couldn't. Gara's sand went at him and crushed Lee's arm and leg. Lee yelled in pain as he fell over unconscious. Gara got up and breathed hard, then walked away. Winner. Gara, Hayate said as the prelims ended. Sarutobi came up to the remains people. Alright, great job everyone, we will have your final matches in a month, so work hard and here is the roster. He said as he posted it to a wall. Naruto Uzumaki vs Shino Aburame. Hinata Hyuga vs Shizune Kato. Kin vs Haku. Sabaku no Tamari vs Kiba Inuzuka. Sabaku no Gara vs Sasuke Uchiha. This is the list for next month. Train hard and you will achieve greatness, Sarutobi said as he walked off. After Naruto and his group looked at the list, everyone shunshined to go home. Next morning, Naruto woke up to the sweet rays of sunshine that illuminated inside his house. Naruto looked at his surroundings as he realized where he was. Naruto smiled to see Shizune, Anko, and Haku all sleeping with him on his bed. Naruto chuckled to himself as he tried to get up. Well, I guess I won't disturb them, Naruto said as he got up and placed the girls gently back on the bed. Naruto went to the washroom as he saw Zabuza come out with a yawn. Hey Zabuza, have a good sleep? Naruto asked him. Zabuza turned to his Hanyu leader and softly smiled. Yes, I suppose, the beds here are the best I have ever felt, Zabuza said to him. Naruto smiled as he leaned against the wall. I am happy that you like them, Naruto told him. Zabuza nodded as he turned to leave. Naruto still smiled as he brought Zabuza back to his attention. Yes, Gaki? He asked. Naruto smiled as he left for a minute and came back with a scroll. Here, Zabuza, Naruto said as he gave him the scroll. Zabuza took the scroll and opened it to see some water jutsu techniques listed in the scroll. Confused, Zabuza turned to look up at Naruto. Gaki, what is this? He asked. Naruto smiled. That is my clan's water jutsu. Some people of the clan were very proficient in water jutsu that could rival Nadaime, and I am going to let you learn those jutsu from that scroll, Naruto told him. Zabuza's mouth dropped. T techniques to rival the Nadaime? Zabuza said to him. Naruto simply nodded. That's right, Zabuza. I have seen your progress over the months and you are more than worthy to have it now, Naruto told him. Zabuza smiled as he gripped the scroll. Thank you, G. No, thank you, Naruto-sama, Zabuza said with a bow. Naruto waved his hand. It's all good, Zabuza. Go try them out, Naruto told him. Zabuza smiled as he ran downstairs and grabbed his sword to train in the compound. Naruto smiled as he went into the washroom. Unknown to him, Shizune and her companions got up also. They were surprised to see Naruto gone, but heard the water running and assumed he was in the washroom. Naruto-kun got away before I could kiss him, Shizune said with a slight pout. Haku laughed as Shizune turned to her. What are you laughing at? She asked. Haku smiled as she looked at her. Nothing. It's nothing, Shizune-san, Haku said as she got up and left the room. Anko smiled as she stretched and left. Well, I am going to find Zabuza for some training, Anko said with a smirk. Shizune stayed in the room and smiled as she laid on the bed. The fact that this family is only going to get bigger is a scary thought, but it's still fun, Shizune said as she decided to get up. Everyone was up and about as the day started, but Naruto had a hunch about who would destroy this evening. Hokage Mansion. And that is why you need to assemble the council against this action, Sukuna said to Sarutobi. The third sighed as he heard the pink banshee tell him about Naruto being with multiple women. Sukuna, I don't see the point to this. Naruto is free to love whoever and that person who loves him can love him. I don't see the need for a council meeting, Sarutobi told her. Sukuno's eyes narrowed. Sarutobi, you know that having multiple women is only for those of clan status, and as far as I know that Brat isn't a part of any clan, Sukuna told him. Sarutobi sighed. Technically she was right, but Sarutobi also knew that Naruto was actually a part of a clan status, but he couldn't say. Sarutobi puffed his pipe as he looked at her. Fine, I will assemble a council, but I am not interfering with it, Sarutobi told her. Sukuna nodded as she left the room. Sarutobi sat back in his seat as he looked at the picture of the Yondaime on the wall. Why do I think this meeting is going to be so troublesome? Sarutobi thought as he leaned into his chair. Namikaze compound. Naruto sat in a chair as everyone began to go over their training plans for the month. Alright, so we agree. I will work on my father's jutsu, Shizu-chan will work on her water and wind jutsus with Haku-chan, and Anko will train with Zabuza, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded in agreement. Naruto nodded as he laid back into the chair. Naruto smiled as he got up. Alright, I am going to the Inuzuka compound, anyone want to go? Naruto asked. Anko, Haku, and Shizune nodded to go, but Zabuza was obsessed with his recent gift from Naruto as he ran back to the field to train. Naruto chuckled as he saw Zabuza read over the water scroll. Naruto and his female companions left the house to go see Kiba, Hana, and Tsume. Naruto recently told them about Shizune, Haku, and Anko being his previous loves. Both women were a bit jealous, but decided that it didn't matter to them. As long as he loved them also, they didn't seem to mind. Inuzuka compound. As Naruto reached the Inuzuka compound, he knocked on the door for Kiba to answer. Hey, it's my leader. Hello, Naruto, Kiba said to him. Naruto smiled as he came into the house. Hey Kiba, where are Tsume-chan and Hana-chan? Naruto asked. Kiba smirked as he pointed to the living room. Naruto nodded a thank you as he went into the room to see Sume and Hana talking about him. So what are my girls talking about? Naruto asked. Both girls jumped as the object of their desire came into the room. Sume and Hana blushed as they looked at him. Nothing Naruto-kun, it was nothing, Sume told him. Naruto narrowed his eyes with a smile. Naruto turned to Hana and looked her in the eyes. Hana-chan, what were you two talking about? Naruto asked her with a smile. Hana blushed as she saw his face close to hers. Hana turned to her mother, who was shaking her head. No Hana, please, no, don't tell him, Sume shouted in her thoughts. Naruto continued to look at Hana waiting for an answer. Hana was about to give out from his smile until heard a knock on the door. Sume smiled as she ran to the door along with Hana. Naruto smiled as he realized his captives escaped. As Sume opened the door, she looked to see an Anbu officer with a cat mask in the door. Hello Lady Sume, the Hokage wants a council meeting over. He stopped when he saw Naruto come out of the living room. Hey you, he said trying to address Naruto. Naruto turned his head to see the Anbu in the doorway. What do you want? Naruto said to him with a rather displeased look. You are to come to the council room with these women for the meeting, the man said as he shunshined out. Naruto sighed. Always gotta be the bitch, Sakuno. Naruto thought as he headed to the door. Well everyone, let's go see what they want now. Kiba, you come too, Naruto said, surprising him. Naruto smiled as he ran to the meeting. He was soon followed by a smiling Kiba and Shizune, along with Haku, Sume, Hana and Anko. Meeting room. Naruto and his companions entered the room soon as they came to see the members of the civilian and shinobi council in their seats as Sume took her place. Naruto sighed as he saw Sarutobi sit in the center. The meeting got started. Alright, what is it that you people want? Naruto asked with his hands folded. Sarutobi sighed. Naruto, is it true that you are dating multiple women? Sarutobi asked. Naruto sighed as he kissed Shizune, Haku, and Hana on the cheek. Yes, that is right, Naruto told him. Soon some of the civilian council exploded. How the hell can you have multiple women? You aren't even a part of a clan, someone shouted. Naruto showed an unconcerned grin. Why do you care what happens in my love life? Naruto asked. Sakuno exploded. Cause you are a demon and no demon needs to have children, she said to him. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Says the woman who could only get one kid out of body and that kid has turned into a self-bitch herself, Naruto T. Old her. Sume smirked a bit as Sakuno exploded. You keep my daughter out of this, she yelled. Naruto turned to the third. You know this is a waste of time, right? Naruto told him. Sarutobi nodded. Yeah, I think so, Sarutobi said to him. The council calmed down as they began to talk. Look kid, only clan heirs can have multiple wives, so unless you are the heir to a clan, we demand that you end the relationships with these women, a man told him. Naruto chuckled a bit as he turned to the man. Who the hell do you think you are? You council members think you can order me around to do something? Other than the shinobi council, I bet none of you know how to lift a damn finger. I bet if we were at war, you would all cower behind me if I was the only shinobi who could save you. You think you have power, but you don't. You are all just some grown people who are way in over their heads, Naruto said to them. Everyone backed up a bit as they realized that he made his point. Having all the political power in the world wouldn't save someone from a heartless killer. Naruto still looked at them. Now unless you have a valid reason as to why I can't, then I am leaving, Naruto said as he turned around. Sarutobi and the shinobi council could only smile. Naruto just played them all for fools. Naruto turned to a man in a chair and with a smile. Oh Danzo, how is Anbu Root doing? I think that you trying to suppress the Hokage with the arm full of Sharingans isn't a good idea, Naruto said, surprising. Danzo and the members of the council. Danzo cursed at the boy as Sarutobi walked over to Danzo and ripped the cloth off his body to reveal to everyone the arm full of Sharingan. Sarutobi was furious as he summoned his Anbu. Anbu, take him to Ibiki now, and place him in a chakra-restricted prison, Sarutobi said as Danzo was paralyzed and taken away. Sarutobi smiled as he looked at Naruto. Thank you for that, Naruto. He has been a thorn in the side, but I never found a good reason to do that until now, Sarutobi said. Oh him. Naruto nodded as he turned to leave, but Kami wasn't with him today. Wait, demon brat, Sukuna yelled to him. Naruto sighed as he turned around. What now? He wondered. Regardless if we have power or not, you still have to listen to and obey our demands, and I specifically demand that you stop dating these girls and give the to Sasuke Uchiha, Sukuna said to him with a smirk. Naruto rage boiled as he looked at her. Sarutobi and the Shinobi Council sighed. They all got up and moved over to far side. Nice knowing you, Sukuna, Shikaku thought. Be nice to the Shinigami when you see him, Sume thought. I think I should go back to praying, Hiyashi thought. That mouth was always going to get you in trouble, Sukuna, Sarutobi thought. In other words, everyone was thinking the same thing. Good luck in hell, Sukuna Haruno, they all thought. Naruto rage continued to skyrocket as he processed her words. He was demanded to give up his women who he loved with all his heart, and to a self-righteous Uchiha who wouldn't even love them. Shizune's eyes flared. How dare you? Shizune said as she formed a chakra blade. Sukuno's smile faded as Shizune walked up to her. You dare tell me that I have to break up with my Naruto-kun just so you damn people can have some little arrogant Uchiha bastards running around, Shizune said. Haku soon followed with some ice needles. That's it, I have had it, no one demands me to love anybody, Haku said. Hana and Kiba growled along with Sume in the corner. Sume just got herself a man and a real one at that. No way was she going to lose him, because of a self-righteous bitch and her boy toy Uchiha. Anko soon followed them. How the hell do you think you are, you pink bitch, Anko said as she took out her sword. As everyone walked up to her, Sukuna turned to Sarutobi who shook his head. I told you I wasn't going to interfere in this, Sarutobi thought. Sukuna looked in horror as everyone soon came up to her. Stop! Someone yelled. Everyone immediately stopped and turned to see Naruto with his hair covering his eyes with a smile. The girls grumbled, but Naruto's smile managed to get them to back off. Kiba complied with his leader and stopped. Sume went back to her corner as Naruto walked up. He suddenly disappeared and appeared in front of Sukuna. Naruto's smile faded as he lunged and grabbed Sukuno's throat. Listen here, you pink-haired bitch. You will not make demands out of me ever. I follow no one's orders except my own and those I feel are worth listening to. Know that if you do threaten me or my women in any way again, I will snap this fragile neck of yours in two, Naruto said as he let go of her. Sukuna grabbed her thought and coughed as she tried to get some air back into her lungs. Naruto came back down and sighed. Just so we don't have this confrontation again, I will tell everyone here something, Naruto said to the council. By this time, Sarutobi and the Shinobi Council sat back down and waited for Naruto's reply. Naruto sighed as he looked at everyone. I am the son of Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze, Naruto said to them. The room was filled with silence as everyone heard Naruto's claim. The council had blank looks on their faces. Even Hana, Sume, and Anko had questionable glares at him. Sarutobi looked at Naruto in shock. Where did he learn that? Sarutobi wondered. Sukuna raged. Don't you insult the name of our Yondaime with your mouth, he didn't give birth to a demon child, Sukuna said to Naruto. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Look, I don't care if you don't believe me, all that matters is that I, myself know it and I do, so I am the heir to the Namikaze clan and also the Uzumaki clan, so I have a clan status just like everyone else, so I am allowed to have multiple wives. So I believe that solves that, Naruto said to them. Everyone immediately turned to Sarutobi, who still looked at Naruto, then the council members. He sighed. Naruto is right, he is the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, he said to them. Everyone couldn't believe their ears. Here was the son of the most powerful Hokage in Konoha history. The man who was able to take out 1,000 Iowa shinobi by himself. Everyone suddenly looked at Naruto like he was a prize now, and Naruto knew this would happen. He raised his hand. Before any of you get any ideas, I am not marrying anyone's daughter just so you can have my clan's power for yourself, so you can get that out of your minds right now, Naruto told them. After he finished talking, Naruto was tackled by Sume, who kissed him all over his face, surprising the council members. While my Naruto-kun is the son of our fourth, I can't believe it, Sume said as she kissed him. Naruto smiled as he felt her kisses on his face. The council gasped at her words. Naruto-kun. They all wondered. Is it really that surprising? He wondered. Sume shook her head. Of course it is silly, she said to him. Sarutobi stopped the sight with a cough as Sume turned around. Sume, what was that? Hiyashi asked. Sume blushed. What? I can't love my boyfriend. Sume said to them. Everyone gasped. Naruto was dating a clan head and a shinobi council member. Sume always turned down dates with guys since her husband died, now she was dating Naruto. Sume smiled as she stood next to Naruto. You gonna stop me from dating him? She asked with a scowl. Everyone backed up and shook their heads. Good. Not that I would listen to you people anyway, she said to them. Sarutobi sighed. Alright, that is enough. This meeting is over, Naruto. I want to meet you and your friends in my office, Sarutobi said to him. Naruto nodded as he and his companions left. Sarutobi left also as the council went through their thoughts. Hokage office. Naruto and his companions waited for Sarutobi to arrive as they sat on the couch or leaned on the walls. Well, I am learning lots of things about Naruto-kun today, Hana said to him. Naruto smiled as rolled his eyes. I was actually going to tell you both about that today, but it seems that I had to do it back there, Naruto said to her. I can't believe I am dating a namikaze, Sume said out loud. Naruto smiled. So you're going to date me for the clan status now? Naruto said to her. Sume smiled as walked up to Naruto and kissed him. Of course not, Naruto-kun. I love you for you, clan status or no clan status. In fact, I loved you before I even found out about it, Sume said with a smile. Naruto chuckled as he gave her a tight hug which made Sume blushed from his tight muscles. Thank you, Sume, Naruto said to her. Sume nodded with a smile. Hana leaned on Naruto's shoulder. Still, the fact that Naru-kun is the son of the Yondaime, it makes me wonder how powerful you will be in the future, Hana said to him. Naruto smiled at her words. Naruto nodded in agreement. Before Sarutobi came in, Naruto decided to ask Sume his question. Hey Sume-chan, how would you like to merge your clan compound with mine? Naruto told her. Sume jumped at his question, but smiled. I would like that, Naruto-kun, we can do that tomorrow, okay? She asked. Naruto nodded. Fine with me, Sume-chan, Naruto told her. Shizune smiled. Now our compound will be 3 times as big, Shizune smiled. Everyone nodded with a smile. Naruto then looked at Kiba and Haku. He smiled as he motioned for them. Yes, Naruto, Naruto-kun. They asked. Naruto smiled. Since he isn't here, I will give you both the mark now, Naruto said to them. Sume and Hana wondered what he meant as they watched Naruto move to Haku. Naruto exposed a part of her neck and bit the side. Haku winced a bit from the pain, but soon adjusted to it. Soon her mark appeared as Haku flowed through her body. Naruto smiled as a light appeared and soon faded. Haku opened her eye and looked in a mirror. Her ears were on her head. She was a few inches taller and she had a fluffy white tail that swayed around. Haku smiled. This feels amazing. I think I could take on anyone and win, Haku said with a smile. Naruto smiled as he turned to Kiba. Kiba didn't really like the way this was done, being a guy and all, but he knew it was necessary. Naruto bit Kiba's neck as his mark also appeared. Soon the light appeared and faded as Kiba opened his eyes. Kiba's ears moved to his head and were the same color as his hair. He also had a brown tail that swayed behind him. Yahoo! I can feel the chakra run smoothly through my body. I haven't felt this good in forever, Kiba said to Naruto. Naruto nodded as he looked at Sume and Hana. Both seemed to debate over it, but could see that it would be very fun and useful. Sume exposed her neck to Naruto as did Hana. Naruto smiled as he bit Sume's neck first. The light came and went as Sume looked also. Her hair was much straighter as it came down to her shoulders. Her ears were on her head and she had a brown tail that swayed. Sume smiled at the features. This is amazing, thank you Naruto-kun, Sume said to him as she hugged him. Naruto smiled. You're welcome Sume-chan, he said to her. Naruto then turned to Hana who was ready to be marked. Naruto bit her next as he heard a slight from her. Soon the mark appeared and so did the light. The light faded as Hana opened her eyes. Hana's ears were also on her head. She had a black and brownish tail that swayed. Hana smiled. Oh, this feels wonderful. I think I could fight an Akatsuki member without breaking a sweat, Hana stated. Naruto smiled with a nod. Okay, you all have your marks. Now henge so you appear normal. Can't have this plan going down the drain, can we? Naruto said to them. The girls and Kiba nodded as they hanged back to their forms. No sooner than that did Sarutobi come through the door and sat down at his desk. Sarutobi sighed as he sat down. You sure know how to surprise people Naruto, Sarutobi said to him. Naruto smiled. What? They needed to know, and it felt good to see their reactions, Naruto said to him. Sarutobi smiled with a nod. That is true, but where did you learn that? He asked him. Naruto sighed. Sorry Gigi, but I can't tell you that, my source must be kept a secret, Naruto told him. Sarutobi looked at him, but nodded. Very well Naruto, but since you know, I want to give you this letter from your father, he said to Naruto as he reached inside his drawer and pulled out the letter. Naruto knew about the letter, but it always felt good to read it again. Naruto took the letter as he read it. To Naruto Uzumaki. Hey son, how are you? This is your father, Minato Namikaze. If you are reading this then I am dead. The village is currently being attacked by the Kyuubi no Yoko and I must go help. I have thought of the best way to save the village and it was to seal the beast inside someone of pure spirit. And what is more pure than a child? I couldn't ask someone of something that I wouldn't do myself, so I had to seal the child inside my son, you. Please don't hate me for it, that might be selfish on my part, but I hope that the village treats you well as the hero. Your mother really didn't like the idea of it, but I managed to convince her. Although she told me that she couldn't bear to watch it. Know that I love you and below are the directions to my compound. It is quite big enough to even put the Uchiha in their place. I leave my clan's jutsu to you, the Rasengan and the Hiraishin technique. Use these techniques to bring peace. I love you Naruto. I must go goodbye. Your father, Minato Namikaze. Even though he read the letter already, Naruto still got tears from the letter. He shed a few tears as he thanked Sarutobi for the letter. As Naruto and his friends were about to leave, Sarutobi brought Naruto back. Yes Gigi? He asked. Sarutobi looked at him. Naruto I don't know anymore, but I think your mother might be alive near Water Country, Sarutobi said to him. Around the village. As Naruto walked through the place of his disgust, he looked around the village for any hints of recruits. He did have the Inuzuka clan to back him up, but he wasn't going to use Sume and Hana like they were objects to him. He did love them all, but he realized that to destroy Konoha, he would still need some more. I probably need a strategist in my destruction of Konoha, Naruto thought as he walked through the village ignoring the obvious glares of hate at him. As he walked, Naruto suddenly chuckled evilly. Don't worry Use, your time will come also, I will make every single one of you pay, Naruto said to himself as he continued his stroll through Konoha. Naruto's eyes looked up as he saw someone in a shop. He suddenly smiled as he walked over to the girl to give her some company. Hey Kin, how you doing? Naruto said, causing her to jump a bit. Kin turned around to see Naruto's face next to hers. Kin suddenly blushed as she looked at the blonde's face. She tried to speak, but words seemed to escape her mouth as she looked at him. Calm down, He is just the boy with the hot body that saved your life. I think my consciousness is slipping, Kin thought as she continued to gaze at Naruto. Naruto smiled as he put his hand to her forehead, making her blush grow dark. You don't have a fever, so why are you so red? He asked her. Kin's eyes widened as she backed away from him. It's nothing, I am just a bit tired. Well, I have to go, Kin said as she tried to run out the door, but was stopped by Naruto. Now Kin-chan, we need to catch up, Naruto told her as he took her hand and ran outside. Kin blushed as she felt Naruto's hand on hers. As Naruto ran through Konoha, he suddenly stopped once he realized he wasn't in the civil area, but he came to a training ground. Naruto smiled as he turned to see Kin panting next to him. There, now we have some quiet, Naruto said to her. Kin stopped panting only to blush as she looked around to see that they were the only ones in the area. Kin saw Naruto sit next to a tree as he leaned his body back against it. Naruto smiled as he motioned for Kin to sit next to him. Kin blushed, but consented to the request. She soon sat next to Naruto as they laid back and took in a fresh breath of air. Kin slowly turned her head as she looked at his body. Kin blushed when she saw his hair blow in the breeze. Why is he so hot? Kin wondered as she continued to look at him. Naruto smiled as he felt her intense gazes over his body. Naruto smiled as he turned to her. Is there something you like, Kin-chan? Naruto asked her. Kin snapped out of her daze as she turned her head away in embarrassment. Nothing, Naruto. Sorry for staring, she simply said to him. Naruto smiled as he leaned back. It's alright, Kin-chan, Naruto said to her. Kin nodded her head though Naruto didn't see it. Kin suddenly remembered her encounter with him in the Forest of Death. She remembered how he seemed to make Dozu sweat under his gaze as he saw Zaku hit her. She also thought his group was insane with the way the brunette dismembered her teammate as she seemed to enjoy it. She also remembered how she thought she was going to die by the blonde, but instead he looked to see if she was okay. His eyes that gazed into hers seemed to ignite her soul as she felt she could just easily trust him. Not even her own village could bring this much trust out in her. Kin slowly turned to the blonde. Thank you, she said to him. Naruto turned to her and raised an eyebrow. For what? He asked her. Kin turned her full body to him as she looked at him. For the Forest of Death incident, my teammates are pricks, I can't stand them, Kin said to him, the last part somewhat under her breath. Naruto looked at her and smiled, turning his full body to her as he cupped her chin. Think nothing of it, Kin-chan, people who hurt their teammates aren't fit to be called ninja, and I did it because I wanted to, Naruto told her. Kin seemed a bit confused by his statement. But why? She asked him. Naruto looked at her and smiled as he closed his eyes. Maybe I am for a cute girl, Naruto told her. Kin blushed heavily as she looked at him. Kin slowly lowered her head as her hair covered her eyes. Naruto turned to her with a bit of confusion. Kin-chan, Naruto said to her. Kin looked up and lunged forward to kiss Naruto on his lips. Naruto was surprised by the kiss, but he seemed to respond to it rather fast as he wrapped his arms around Kin as she pushed him against the tree. Both let the kiss overcome them as Kin invaded Naruto's mouth, much to his surprise. Naruto smiled as he felt his tongue be caressed by Kin's as they swirled around. Soon Kin separated from Naruto as she looked at him with a blush on her face. Naruto smiled as he looked at her. Not that I mind, but what was that for, Kin-chan? Naruto asked her with a smile. Kin blushed as she stared at Naruto. That was a thank you for what you have done, Kin said to him. Naruto looked at and smiled. Thank you, Kin-chan, Naruto told her. Kin suddenly smiled as she laid in his chest. Suddenly Naruto heard something that made him smile again. I don't want to, Kin said as she pushed her face into his chest. Naruto looked at her. What is it, Kin-chan? Naruto asked her. Kin looked up at him while a few tears rolled down her face. I don't want to leave Naruto. Kun, Kin said to him. Naruto looked at her in surprise. Kin decided to continue. I have come to love you. I don't know much about you, but I know enough to know why I don't want to leave you. For me, to live in a village where everyone is mean to you and abuses you isn't what I want, Kin honest. Lee told him. Naruto smiled as he looked at her. Then stay with me, he simply told her. Kin looked up at him hoping that this wasn't a dream. Are really I can stay? She asked him. Naruto nodded with a smile as he hugged her. Don't leave my side Kin-chan, Naruto told her. Kin blushed as she nodded. I never will Naruto-kun, Kin said as she took out a kunai. Naruto looked at her sway the kunai back and forth as she suddenly smiled. Kin brought the kunai to her forehead protector and quickly made a slash across the Odo sign. Naruto smiled as he looked at her. You know we should take you to the Hokage now, cause right now you are a missing nin, Naruto told her. Kin smiled as she looked at him. Lead the way Naruto-kun, Kin said to him. Naruto's smile wavered a bit as he stood up. Kin, do you really love me? Naruto asked her. Kin looked at him and honestly nodded. Yes I do Naruto-kun, she told him. Naruto sighed. Then I will have to tell you about myself, Naruto said to her as he dismissed the henge. Kin looked to see a taller version of Naruto along with fox ears and a fox tail that swayed around. Kin looked at him and could only come up with 3 words. Too damn hot, Kin thought to herself. Naruto smiled as looked at her. Naruto placed a privacy seal as he turned back to her. Kin, I want you to know that I am going to destroy Konoha, Naruto told her. Kin was a bit surprised at his claim. Seeing that she was confused, Naruto decided to skip the long speech and placed his hand on her head. Soon Kin was in tears as she was flooded with memories of his childhood and his future. She could only wonder how he could even show the emotion of love after what she saw. Kin saw a young Naruto get beaten, tortured, burned, poisoned and anything else she didn't want to think of. Naruto sighed as he took his hand off her head. Kin fell to the ground in tears as she looked at him. I am going to burn this village to the ground Kin, I won't force you, but will you help? Naruto asked her. Kin lifted her head up to Naruto. She could only look at him as she went to her thoughts. This damn village, who the hell do they think they are? I haven't been this disgusted for a very long time. Naruto-kun is no demon, if he was, he could have destroyed you all. I will fight for him, I will be more than glad to help, Kin thought as she smiled. I would love to help you Naruto-kun, Kin said with a smile. Naruto looked at her and smiled back. He suddenly hugged her as he hanged back. Thank you Kin-chan, I am happy to have you on my side and is something more, Naruto told her. Kin simply nodded as she hugged him back. Naruto smiled as he took her to the Hokage mansion. Hokage mansion. Sarutobi was sitting in his office doing his dreaded paperwork as he wondered when he would have some time to himself. Soon he heard a knock on the door as he looked up. Come in, Sarutobi said with a sigh. Soon a blonde and brunette entered the office as Sarutobi smiled. Hello Naruto and Miss, Kin smiled as she stepped forward. Kagami, Kin said to him. Sarutobi nodded when he saw the slashed-out Odo symbol on her headband and turned to Naruto. I take it you want me for something? He asked the blonde. Naruto smiled as he nodded. That's right Gigi, can you make Kin a Konoha shinobi? Naruto asked Sarutobi. Sarutobi sighed as he laid back into his chair. He started to ponder over Naruto's request as he looked at the blonde and brunette who were begging. Sarutobi sighed as he smiled. There might not be any free time for me today, oh well, he thought as he leaned forward. Alright fine, she can be one, you should be lucky that you crossed out the symbol, it would have been another issue if you didn't, Sarutobi said with a smile. Kin's face beamed as she pounced on Naruto and kissed his face. Naruto smiled as he wasn't complaining about her kisses. Sarutobi chuckled lightly as he had the two compose themselves. Kin took off her headband and placed it on the Hokage's desk. Sarutobi opened a drawer as he took out a leaf headband. Welcome to Konoha, Kin Kagami, Sarutobi said to her. Kin smiled with a nod as she adorned the leaf symbol. Thank you Hokage-sama, Kin said to him. Sarutobi nodded as he started to file paperwork for a new shinobi that was added to his village. Soon Kin and Naruto left as they roamed the streets of Konoha. As they walked, Kin grabbed Naruto's arm as they continued their leisurely walk. So where do I live? Kin decided to ask. Naruto smiled. Why, you live with me, of course, Naruto told her like it was the simplest thing in the world. Kin blushed at the thought of living with Naruto as they walked. I like that idea, Kin said to him. Naruto nodded with a smile. As the two passed the village, they were suddenly stopped when Kin heard her name. Both turned around to see her former teammates Dozu and Zaku walk up to her. Kin flinched as Naruto moved her behind him. Soon enough, Dozu and Zaku came up to them and narrowed their eyes. What the hell are you doing, you stupid woman? Come on, it is time to go, Dozu told her. Kin narrowed her eyes and shook her head. Zaku looked at her as narrowed his eyes. Didn't you hear, Dozu bitch? It is time to go, Zaku told her. No, Kin said to them. Both were surprised that she talked back to them. Dozu grew a vein as he grabbed her wrist. I said we are leaving, he said as he pulled her away from Naruto. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he stepped forward and grabbed Dozu's hand. Naruto gripped Dozu's hand as he began to crush the bones in his arm. Dozu screamed as Naruto managed to snap a part of his arm. Dozu stepped back as he gripped his arm in pain. Naruto smiled as he grabbed Kin and brought her back into his embrace. Do you know the penalty for trying to force a Konoha shinobi? Naruto said with a smile. Dozu and Zaku narrowed their eyes as they looked at Kin's forehead to see the leaf headband on her head. Dozu seethed as he looked at Kin. Kin, why the hell do you have that leaf headband? Dozu asked at her. Kin smiled as she leaned on Naruto's head. I am not being your abusive doll anymore, I am staying here in the village with Naruto-kun, Kin blatantly said to them. Zaku and Dozu seethed more as they tried to grab Kin again, but were suddenly kicked into an alley by Naruto. Naruto sighed as he turned to Kin. Kin, do you care about these two in any way? Naruto asked her. Kin smiled as she shook her head. Not in the least, Naruto-kun, Kin said to him. Naruto smiled as he cracked his knuckles. Then Kin, I want you to cover your ears and count slowly to 10, Naruto told her. Kin nodded as she sat down, covered her ears as Naruto put up a privacy seal. Naruto walked into the alley and smirked. Time to exterminate some insects, Naruto said with a demonic smile. Naruto's eyes changed to slits and from blue to red as he walked to them. Dozu and Zaku suddenly had fear in their eyes as Naruto broke his henge and sharpened the nails in his hand. 1. Kin counted. Naruto smiled as he lunged at them. 2. Naruto shot his hand forward as he pierced Dozu's stomach. Dozu screamed in pain as he looked at the hand that was in his stomach. 3. Naruto gripped Dozu's insides and ripped them out of his body. Naruto smiled as he heard Dozu scream. 4. Naruto then slashed across Dozu's body as he pierced his flesh. Zaku looked in fear as he tried to run. Naruto smiled as he turned to Zaku. 5. Naruto smiled as he ran after Zaku and grabbed his arms. 6. Naruto laughed as he gripped Zaku's arms and put his foot on his back. 7. Naruto began to pull as Zaku screamed from having his arms ripped from his body. Zaku screamed out in pain at the feeling. 8. Naruto casted the arms away as he picked up Zaku by his collar. 9. Naruto smiled as Zaku stared in horror as he saw his end in Naruto's eye. Naruto smiled as he slashed his hand forward. 10. Kin finished as Naruto walked out of the alley. Naruto cracked his knuckles as he grabbed Kin. Well, shall we go? Naruto said to her. Kin smiled as she nodded. Let's go home, Naruto-kun, Kin said to him. Naruto nodded as they shunshined straight to the compound. Namikaze compound. Everyone was laying around the house with some people playing cards or others training. I am home, Naruto yelled. Everyone smiled as they came to the doorway. Oh hey Naruto-kun, did you bring anyone back? Shizune asked him. Naruto smiled as he brought Kin around his arm. Everyone meet Kin Kagami, Our new ally, Naruto said to them. Everyone smiled as they nodded. Hello Kin, Sum said to her. Kin smiled as she bowed. Hello everyone, Kin said to them. Naruto smiled. Well Kin, take a look around the house and pick the room that you want. I know of a way to get your stuff from Oto, I will do that later, okay? Naruto told her. Kin nodded as she walked around the house. Shizune smiled as she leaned next to Naruto. So Naru-kun got Kin, huh? Shizune said to him. Naruto chuckled as he grabbed Shizune and gave her a deep kiss. As he broke the kiss, Naruto smiled. You jealous Shizu-chan? Naruto asked her. Shizune smiled with a pout. Oh, you are so mean, Naruto-kun, but maybe I am a bit jealous, Shizune said to him. Naruto smiled as he went upstairs. So is everyone keeping up with their training? Naruto asked them. Zabuza smiled with a nod. Got more than half the techniques in the scroll down Gaki, Zabuza said to him. I have a new jutsu that I can use in the Chunin exams, Haku said with a blush. Me, Hana, and Kiba have developed some techniques also, Sum said to him. Naruto nodded, then turned to Shizune. And you Shizu-chan? Shizune smiled as she kissed Naruto. I never kiss and tell Naru-kun, Shizune said as she went upstairs. Naruto sighed as he soon followed. Naruto decided to take a shower as to get a weird smell off of him. I guess I will go and take a shower, Naruto thought as he headed to the bath. With Kurenai, the Genjutsu mistress was currently at home as she tried to find a dress for her date with the blonde. That she just asked out. I think this will be good for the date, yeah I will go with this, Kurenai said as she laid the dress on the bed. I hope Naruto-kun likes this, Kurenai said to herself. Kurenai smiled at the thought of going on a date with Naruto. Sure, he was quite a young for her age, but she still held a great fascination for him as she heard of his exploits in Wave Country. I can't wait to see him in the Chunin exams, I hope he wins, Kurenai said to herself again as she laid on her bed. With Sasuke and Kakashi, Sasuke huffed as he nearly finished his sensei's original technique. Good Sasuke, you have nearly gotten it, just a bit more control and you will be the strongest genin in the Chunin exams. Yeah right, Kakashi said to the Uchiha, elevating his pride. It's to be expected, Kakashi, though I still can't believe that the Dobi made it to the finals, it must be the end of the world, Sasuke said to him. Kakashi smirked, but nodded. It is surprising, but with your mastery of the technique, he will be nothing compared to you, Kakashi said to him. Sasuke smirked. He is already nothing compared to me, Sasuke said as he got up to try again. Sasuke did the hand signs as he clutched his left hand and lightning cackled in it. Sasuke smirked as he ran at the boulder and destroyed it. Just wait, Dobi, you will know your place in the pecking order of this village, Sasuke thought with a smile. Later that day, Naruto fell to the ground exhausted as he wiped the sweat from his brow. Naruto glanced around his compound as he smiled at seeing his family train. Enko was currently fighting Zabuza in a sword duel. Haku, Kin, and Shizune were also battling it out, though they seemed to be having a lot of fun with their fight. Sum was teaching Hana and Kiba some of the clan's techniques. Naruto smiled as he wasn't going to slack either. Naruto picked up his father's scroll as he looked over the Hiraishin technique again. Mantu-san, how am I supposed to remember the seals for this technique? This feels impossible, Naruto said to himself as he went over the scroll again. As Naruto read, the scroll explained the type of seals need in order to perform the deadly Hiraishin, but it never said the specific order for it. Naruto managed to get the order of the scrolls down as he managed to find a picture of his father with the kunai in his hand. Naruto was able to put the seals in order. Naruto's first attempt at the Hiraishin was good as he was able to teleport 3 feet from his compound. Naruto sighed as he closed the scroll. You better be happy I am a stamina freak too, san, otherwise this just you would be impossible for me, Naruto though. UGHT as he laid in the field. Unknown to him, Shizune walked up and gave him a kiss on the cheek that snapped him out of his daze. And to what do I owe the honor of that? Naruto asked her as he ed his lips. Shizune smiled as she sat next to him. You owe nothing, just felt like kissing my demon mate, Shizune said to him. Naruto chuckled as he laid back. I see, Naruto told her. Shizune nodded as she laid next to him. So how is the Hiraishin technique going? She asked him. Naruto suddenly looked at her, then at the sky. It's so damn chakra taxing, I swear that Minato should be a demon for this technique, Naruto told her. Shizune smirked. Well, to Aiwa he was the only person in the bingo book with a flea on sight title, Shizune said to him. Naruto nodded as he got up. That is true, isn't it? Naruto thought as he got up. Shizune got up with him as he walked to his group. Everyone turned to see Naruto come up to them as they all relaxed and stopped what they were doing. Alright everyone, let's all sit down, Naruto told them as everyone sat down to hear what their leader would say. Naruto breathed as he looked at them. Alright, I can tell that everyone is doing a good job, but I want to know if anyone knows somebody else who can help. Naruto asked them. Everyone looked at him as they all took thinking poses. Kin smiled as she looked at him. I know someone, Kin said to him. Naruto turned to her and smiled. He let her continue as she nodded. One of my few friends, her name is Tayuya, she is kind of a foul mouth, but I know she can definitely help with Konoha's destruction, Kin said to them. Naruto smiled as he remembered Tayuya. He remembered Shikamaru talking about his encounter with her. He called her a pain in the butt, but he said she was a genius when it came to fighting. Naruto smiled. Thank you, Kin, I will be more than happy to try and get her, Naruto said to her. Kin blushed, but nodded. Sume smiled also as she decided to speak also. I think that the Nara clan might join, Sume told him. Naruto quirked up an eyebrow as he looked at Sume. They always did say from time to time that Konoha was sometimes becoming too troublesome for them and some of the lower clan members even tried to leave, Sume told him. Naruto smiled at her suggestion. He knew that the Nara clan was also nicknamed the Genius Clan, because it seemed that being a genius was a trait in that clan. Naruto nodded. Thank you, Sume, I will look into that, Naruto said as he gave her a kiss. Sume blushed, but nodded also. Everyone couldn't think of anyone else in the village that would help, so Naruto decided to leave it at that. Everyone returned to their original plans. Naruto smiled as he walked over to Sume, Kiba, and Hana. I think I have a few combination techniques of me and you three, Naruto told them. Everyone smiled with a nod. What is it, Naruto? Kiba asked him. Naruto smiled as he pointed to a secluded spot. Everyone followed him as they left the others in the compound. As they were a safe distance away, Naruto decided to talk. Sume, you and Kuromaru are probably the only ones who can do this one with me, Naruto told her. Sume's tail swayed as she felt excited. Sume nodded as Naruto told her the idea. This technique is called Kaden. Karyu Gatsuga, Fire Style. Fire Dragon Passing Fang, Naruto told her. Sume smiled with a nod as did Kuromaru. Naruto smiled at her enthusiasm. Sume, hearing the Kaden part, was able to form an idea of what the jutsu was about. Naruto smiled as he took out a kunai and marked a tree. Alright, this is just a practice, so we will only do this once for today, Naruto told her. Sume and Kuromaru nodded as they got up. Hana and Kiba, along with their companions, back up a safe distance as Naruto, Sume, and Kuromaru got into P.O. position. Naruto-san, so we just have to hit the target for now? Kuromaru asked him. Naruto nodded as he patted Kuromaru. Much to the surprise of Kiba and Hana, Kuromaru slightly smiled as he allowed Naruto to scratch his ears. Sume smiled at Naruto's interaction with Kuromaru as Naruto decided to stop, much to Kuromaru's disappointment. Naruto smiled as he looked at him. Yeah, Kuromaru, that is all for now, we will work on maneuvering you later, Naruto told him. Kuromaru nodded as he and Sume turned to the target. Naruto smiled as he got behind them. Ready to you too, Naruto told them. Kuromaru nodded as Sume answered. Ready when you are, Naru-kun, Sume said to him. Naruto smiled as he looked at the target. Go, Naruto told them. Almost immediately Sume and Kuromaru ran off at the target. Gatsuga! Sume yelled as they jumped slightly and began to spin violently at the target. Naruto smiled as he quickly did his hand signs. Kaden! Karyu Enden! Naruto yelled as he blew a fierce fire from his mouth that shot forward at Sume and Kuromaru. Both were instantly engulfed by the fire as Kiba and Hana waited for them to appear. Naruto smiled as he looked to see Sume and Kuromaru still spiraling in a flaming Gatsuga as they collied with the tree, causing said tree to break and catch on fire as they plowed through an section of the forest. Naruto, Hana, and Kiba ran to Sume as they looked to see a smirking Sume and Kuromaru in a burnt section of the land. Man, that was fun, Sume told them. Naruto smiled as he inspected Sume. Oh good, you don't seem to have any burns or bruises from the fire, Naruto told her. Sume nodded as she looked at the burnt line she made. Sume soon turned to Naruto. So I am guessing that you knew Kaden Jutsu in the future? She asked him. Naruto nodded. Yeah, I just wanted to expand some jutsu capabilities, it seemed like a good style so I learned some of it, Naruto told her. Sume nodded as Kiba and Hana walked up to him with their tails wagging. What is mine, Naruto? Kiba asked, very energetic. Naruto smiled as he turned to Kiba. Kiba, do you know the wolf transformation jutsu with Akamaru? Naruto asked him. Kiba shook his head. He had been working on it, but it wasn't able to be complete yet. Naruto smiled as he looked at Kiba. Learn that first. When you have learned that, then I will do our jutsu, Naruto told him. Kiba nodded as he pumped his fist slightly in the air. Naruto smiled as he turned to Hana. Alright Hana, the just you that you and me have is called Fuden, Tenfuga, wind style, rotating wind fang, Naruto told her. Hana nodded with a smile as she and the Heimaru brothers swayed their tails. Naruto smiled as he explained the technique to her. Hana smiled with a nod as they got into position. Naruto smiled, but waited to think. Hold on Hana, let me think for a second, Naruto told her. Hana nodded as she and her huskies waited for him. Naruto thought over the technique. Okay, I can't obviously do the same with the Karyu Gatsuga since that one can be shot out of the mouth, this one might required some thinking, Naruto t. Hot as he looked at Hana. Naruto soon thought of another just you as he looked at Hana. Suddenly Naruto smiled as he looked at her. Naruto got up and walked over to Hana. Okay Hana, let's go now, Naruto told her. Hana smiled with a nod as she and her huskies got up. Naruto smiled as he focused his hands on Hana and her dogs. Naruto closed his eyes and waited. Sume and Kiba looked as the wind blowed. Soon Hana was covered by a sort of wind armor that wrapped around her and her dogs. Naruto smiled as he looked at Hana. Go, he told her. Hana smiled as the four ran off. Hana and her dogs smiled as they began to spin. Gatenga! Hana yelled as she and her pups began to roll forward, forming a buzz-like saw that was further enhanced by the wind. The buzz sound intensified as did the blades of the technique. Soon Hana and her pups hit some trees as they cut the tree clean off and managed to cut a few others off from the range of the winds. Hana and her pups stopped rotating as they looked to see a bit of the forest buzzed clean. Hana smiled as she turned back. That was cool Naruto-kun, Hana yelled at him. Naruto smiled with a nod to Hana. I am glad you liked it, Naruto told her. Hana nodded in approval as they went back. Soon Naruto saw that the sun was going down and decided to head back to the compound with Sume, Hana, and Kiba. As they arrived at the compound they were able to see that the garden was virtually empty as everyone went inside. As they headed inside they looked to see everyone enjoying dinner. Naruto smirked as he saw Kiba, Hana, and Sume go to the table. Naruto went upstairs as he looked at the time. Naruto had only 3 more hours until his date with Kurenai. Naruto sighed as he walked downstairs and went outside to head into the village for a while. Village streets. Naruto walked through the streets as he saw some of the street lights go up. Naruto sighed as he ignored the regular intense glares of hate at him. Naruto managed to some of his friends around the town as he gave them a quick hello. As he walked through the town, Naruto saw out of the corner of his eye, the Suna team as they walked through the village. Naruto smiled as he approached them. Well, if it isn't the cute wind mistress, the sand user and the clown, Naruto said to them, drawing their attention. Kankuro narrowed his eyes as he yelled at Naruto. I am not a clone, it is war paint, Kankuro said to him. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Could have fooled me, Naruto said to him. Temari laughed at Kankuro as he seethed in anger. What do you want, Uzumaki? Gaara asked him. Naruto's smile went south as he looked at the Sand siblings. Alright, then I will tell you, Naruto said to them. Everyone turned to him as he smirked. It won't work, Naruto told them. Everyone quirked an eyebrow as they looked at him. What won't work? Kankuro asked him. Naruto smiled. Your invasion plan won't work, Naruto said to them, causing the siblings to go wide-eyed. How the hell do you know? Temari asked him. Naruto chuckled as he looked at them. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Oh, and Gaara, don't try to attack me cause you won't beat me, Naruto said to him. Gaara narrowed his eyes as he withdrew some of his sand that he thought was hidden. Naruto smirked as he walked up to them. Sorry, but you guys aren't destroying Konoha, that is reserved for me and me alone, Naruto told them. The three looked at him like he was insane. He was a Konoha shinobi, could his reason be for trying to destroy his own village? Oh, and just to let you know, your father is dead, Orochimaru from Odo has impersonated him and is using you, Naruto told them. All three were shocked to hear Naruto's claim. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Well, believe me or not, it is your choice, I don't really care, but just so you know, you will not destroy Konoha, Naruto said as he walked past them. Naruto whispered to the still shocked Gaara. And don't try to lose yourself to the bloodlust, you are in the Sun Kyuubi's territory, you gotta. T-Tan Yuki, Naruto said to him. Gaara narrowed his eyes as Naruto looked at Temari and kissed her hand. Till later, my wind mistress, Naruto said to her as he left them, leaving a shocked Kankuro and Gaara, along with a blushing Temari. After a few minutes in their thoughts, the siblings managed to come back to reality. We need to talk to Baki about this, Gaara said to them. Both nodded in agreement as they shunshined out of the streets. With Naruto. Naruto was smiling as he walked the streets of Konoha. Naruto couldn't believe he was able to shake Gaara up so much. Well, I think that I will go home and change now, Naruto thought as he headed home. Soon Naruto stopped in the streets as he heard something interesting. So Neji, do you think that Naruto can beat Shino? Said someone. Naruto popped his head through the door to see Tenten and Neji in a weapons shop. Well, it seems the weapons mistress and Destiny's bitch are talking about me, Naruto said in his thoughts. HMPH, that kid is a failure and he always will be. Shino is going to beat that fool and there is nothing he can do to change that, Neji said to her. Naruto smirked. Says the guy who called Hinata a failure and got his kicked, Naruto said in his thoughts again as he heard the conversation. Care to make a bet on that, Neji? Tenten told him. Neji smirked, but nodded. This is in the bag, Neji thought. Fine, Tenten, what is your wager? He asked her. Tenten thought. Alright, if I win then you will have to denounce Destiny for the rest of your life, Tenten said to him. Neji smirked and nodded. Alright, and if I win you will have to go on a date with Naruto, Neji told her. Tenten looked at Neji and nodded. That isn't really a bad thing, Tenten thought. Heck, I might date him even if he does win, Tenten thought again. Naruto managed a smirk. Well, this is turning out interesting, Naruto thought. Neji and Tenten nodded and shook hands. It's a deal, they both said to the other. Naruto nodded and disappeared. I just got a good piece of information, Naruto said to himself as he went home. Oh well, I will worry about that later, now I must spend time with my genjutsu mistress, Naruto thought as he went home to get dressed. Namikaze compound. I am home everyone, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded as Naruto went upstairs. Oh, that's right, Naru-kun has another date, doesn't he? Sume said to her friends. That is right, he is going to take Nai-chan out, Anko said to her. Sume nodded as she remembered her date with Naruto. I think Naru-kun is the perfect date for women, Haku said to them. No kidding, Shizune decided to say. All the girls nodded in agreement as they sat around talking. With Naruto. Naruto managed to get his suit from his closet as he put it on and smiled at the softness of it. Alright, let's get going, Naruto said as he walked down the stairs. On his way out, Naruto could hear the whistles and the cat calls at him from the girls. Naruto shook his head as he closed the door and walked over to Kurenai's house. With Kurenai smiled as she waited for Naruto to arrive at her house. I wonder where we will be going, Kurenai said to herself as she got up. Kurenai was sporting a red dress that came down to her knees. Her hair was a bit more brushed, but still had the same style that she normally wore. Her shoes were red high heels that made her even more pretty. All in all, she was more than worthy of being called one of the hottest women in Konoha. Soon she heard a knock on the door as she opened it to see Naruto at her doorstep. Wow, Kurenai-chan, you looked amazing, Naruto told her. Kurenai blushed a deep red and smiled. Thank you very much, Naruto-kun, so are you ready to go? She asked him. Naruto nodded as he took her hand and the two walked off. With Naruto and Kurenai. As Naruto and Kurenai left her house, both roamed the streets of Konoha as they got questionable glares from everyone. People was surprised that one of the most beautiful women in Konoha would lower herself to dating a demon child. Naruto sighed as he looked at them all, but held Kurenai's hand as to give her reassurance of their date. Don't worry, Kurenai, let people say what they want, you and me will just enjoy ourselves, Naruto said to her. Kurenai looked at him and smiled. You are right, Naruto-kun, let's go, Kurenai said to him. Naruto nodded as he brought her up to a restaurant for their date. Kurenai smiled as the waiter brought her and Naruto inside. Naruto pulled out his chair for her as she thanked him and sat down. Naruto took up his chair and sat down also. So while we wait for the waiter, please tell me about yourself, Kurenai, Naruto told her. Kurenai looked up at Naruto and smiled. What would you like to know? She asked him. Naruto smiled as he marveled at her beauty. Things you like, your dislikes, hobbies, let me know more about you, Naruto said to her. Kurenai nodded and began her introduction after a long breath. Alright, well, you do know that my name is Kurenai Yuhi. My likes are studying genjutsu, being with my friends and my squad. My hobby is having evening drinks as I rest during my times off. I dislike perverts, enemy nins, and for some reason that I don't remember. Cake, Kurenai said to him. Naruto looked at her and almost laughed. You don't like cake? He asked her. Kurenai nodded. Yeah, I never got into that kind of sweet, Kurenai said to him. Naruto smiled as he nodded. So you like to have drinks in the evening? He asked her. Yes, it keeps me refreshed as I go throughout the day, what about you? She asked him. Naruto quirked up as he looked at her. Well, I like a lot of things, but I will narrow down the list for you, he said to her. Kurenai could only chuckle at him, but nodded. I like ramen, training, foxes, and my precious people. I dislike those who are arrogant and egotistical. Naruto decided to leave out his hate for Konoha as he knew that Kurenai wasn't ready for such information to be revealed as she might turn on him. And he might have had to kill her. My hobby is training to get stronger for the protection of my precious people, Naruto told her. Kurenai nodded with a smile as she looked at him. All great things, Naruto-kun, she said to him. Soon the waiter came as they took their orders and went back to talking. Kurenai told Naruto about her life as a kid and as a teenager. She told him how she was considered to be talented with genjutsu for her age and how well she excelled in studies of the mind and how it works. Kurenai also said how she was offered a job with the interrogation unit, but turned them down. Naruto marveled at her life up to this point. She really did seem like a very good woman with a good head on her shoulders. Okay, so tell me about your life, Naruto-kun, Kurenai said to him. Naruto sighed as he looked at her with an honest smile. Even though it was bad, Naruto felt that she should know. Naruto told her about his life as the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. He told her how he was often beaten and tortured by the people of Konoha. He also said how people would often overcharge him for supplies or how his education was messed up because of the teachers. All in all, Kurenai was in tears from his stories. She now had a loathing disgust for Konoha, but Naruto could tell that she was also being considerate. You have lived a very hard life, Naruto-kun, Kurenai said to him. Naruto chuckled, then cupped her chin. It doesn't matter, Kurenai-chan. In fact, up to this point I am thankful for it. It is because of that life that I can be with you and all the others, Naruto told her. Kurenai smiled as she nodded. Soon their food was served as the two ate. Other than small conversation, the meal was eaten in relative silence that both seemed to enjoy as they were just able to be happy with their closeness to each other. After both finished their food, Naruto smiled as he escorted Kurenai out of the restaurant only to run into two people that Naruto old ran avoid. HMPH, so Dobi, how many S is it now? Sasuke asked him. Naruto looked at him as his eyes turned to slits. Naruto walked up to Sasuke only to be interfered with by Kakashi. Naruto, stop. If you hurt Sasuke, then I am afraid that I must hurt you, Kakashi told him. Naruto scoffed. He knew that Kakashi couldn't really give him trouble. He didn't have the skills for it. The way Kakashi said it though made Naruto's anger skyrocket. Kurenai narrowed her eyes at Kakashi in disgust at the way he spoke to her date. She was even madder at Sasuke for calling her a Kakashi. If you don't move your I am not afraid that I must hurt you, Naruto said to him. Kakashi narrowed his eyes as Naruto as he was about to take out a kunai. Kurenai smiled as she gripped Kakashi's hand. Kakashi, I would really like it if you didn't touch my date. I am having a good time and I would rather not kill you to enjoy it some more, Kurenai said in a sweet tone that promised death to Kakashi if he didn't back off of her blonde. Kakashi sighed, then withdrew his hand. Sorry, Kurenai. Let's go, Sasuke. And, watch yourself, Naruto, Kakashi said to him. Naruto breathed hard as he looked at Kakashi. Just tell you fake Kami over there to watch his mouth or I will be more than happy to remove it, Naruto said to Kakashi. Kakashi nodded as he and Sasuke walked, but not before the arrogant Uchiha gave his last comment. It just shows how much a bitch will protect her demon mate, Sasuke said with a smirk. Naruto lost it, but before he could get to Sasuke, he smiled when he saw Sasuke kicked into a wall, courtesy of K. Uranai. Sasuke stumbled to his feet as he fell back down and clutched his stomach. Kurenai smiled as she leaned down to him and grabbed his collar. Look her, Uchiha, just because my date can't touch you doesn't mean I can't, so I could really kill you and not get penalized for it. Now keep that arrogant mouth shut and walk away before I put you under a genjutsu so powerful that not even Itachi can break it, Kurenai said to him. Sasuke cursed as Kurenai turned around and walked back to Naruto. The couple soon disappeared from view, leaving a shocked Kakashi and a pissed Sasuke behind. That was so hot and cool, Kurenai, Naruto said to her. Kurenai smiled as she looked at him. Thank you very much, Naruto-kun, Kurenai said to him as they came up to her house. I am sorry that I couldn't take you somewhere else, but on our second date I can definitely take you to a good place, Naruto told her. Kurenai smiled as she kissed his cheek. I would like that, Naruto-kun. Good night, Kurenai said to him as she closed her door. Naruto simply smirked and walked away with a whistle. As he walked in the streets, Naruto suddenly jumped for joy. Well, if I do tell Kurenai, I can only imagine how she is going to take this, but I will have to tell her sometime, but I wonder when, Naruto thought as he headed home. Next morning, Naruto woke up to the rays of sunshine that penetrated his house as he tried to get up. Naruto suddenly felt something heavy on his body as he opened his eyes. What Naruto saw could only make him smile. Naruto said his ladies all over his body as they slept peacefully. Shizune was sleeping on Naruto's left shoulder and Haku was on his adjacent shoulder. Anko slept on one side of his stomach as Hana slept on the other side. Sum and Kin wrapped their bodies around his legs as everyone smiled from his warmth. Naruto smiled as he managed to lessen their grip on his body as he gave each girl a kiss on the cheek. "Sleep well, my ladies," Naruto said to them as he got up. Naruto opened the door as he went to wash up and start the day. As he washed his body, Naruto began to go to his thoughts. "I know I will have to start looking for mother soon, but how am I supposed to find her?" Naruto wondered as he washed himself. Naruto shrugged the thought off as he continued to wash himself. Unknown to him, someone managed to get into the bathroom undetected as they smiled. Soon they crept up to Naruto as they pounced on him much to his surprise. Naruto turned to see the figure as his face lit up. "What are you doing, Anko-chan?" Naruto asked her. Anko smiled as she looked at him. "I want some love, Naruto-kun. I know that you did Shizune and Haku. Are you forgetting about lil old me?" Anko said with a fake sad expression. Naruto smiled as he looked at her. He suddenly found himself chuckling as he cupped her cheeks. "Ah, is Anko-chan not feeling my love enough?" Naruto said to her. Anko blushed, but slightly nodded. Naruto closed his eyes as he sighed. "Well, we can't have any of that, can we?" Naruto said as he pushed his head up as his lips crashed into hers. Anko was taken back by the motion, but quickly recovered as Naruto managed to get up and push her to the floor of the bath without breaking the connection of their lips. "You know, Anko-chan, I can't be gentle here," Naruto said to her. Anko blushed, but smiled. "I don't care. Ravish me, Naruto-kun," Anko said to him. Naruto nodded with a smile. "Of course, hubby Haim," Naruto said to her. Warning. Beware of the S. Naruto smiled as he brought his lips back to Anko's as he shoved his tongue down her throat. Anko managed as she continued to have her mouth invaded by Naruto. Naruto began to move his hands as he looked to see her towel blocking his view of her body. Naruto vigorously removed the piece of cloth as he threw it aside. Anko gasped as her body was exposed to Naruto. Anko didn't have the time to prepare herself as Naruto crashed his mouth into hers and pulled her close. "No time for rest for you, hubby Haim," Naruto said to her as he closed the tight hug with his muscles. Anko began to heat up as she felt the passion in Naruto's kiss. Anko soon managed to overcome Naruto's tongue as she began to fight with her own tongue. Naruto opened his eye only to smile as he felt Anko try to dominate him. Naruto played a cheap move as he grasped her S and gave them a tight squeeze. Anko suddenly broke the kiss as she let out of pleasure. "No f fair, Naru-kun," Anko said to him. Naruto smiled to her as laid her down. "Sorry, Anko-chan, but kind of male head would I be if I was dominated so easily by my girls," Naruto said to her as he kissed her neck. As he kissed her neck, he still kept his firm hold on her S, making sure to make her from his touch. Anko suddenly ached back as she felt him one of her S. "Oh yes, right there, Naruto-kun, I love it," Anko said as she felt overwhelming pleasure. Naruto smiled as he swirled his tongue around her while roughly playing with the other. Anko wrapped her arms around him as she brought him close to her. Naruto smiled as he went down with a few kisses and bites on her skin. Anko showed more excitement from being bit than anything else. Naruto smirked at the thought of Anko being a masochist. "Well, let's turn it up," Naruto said more to himself than her as he smiled from Anko getting a sudden scream while he bit her clit. Anko gripped her hands tight as she tried to hold out just from his foreplay. Naruto smiled as he pushed 2 fingers inside her soft spot as he felt her wet walls tighten a little. Naruto soon brought his tongue inside also as his fingers and tongue went in and out of her. "It feels so good, Naru-kun. Ravage my insides, make me yours," Anko squealed. Naruto smiled as he soon bit her again a little harder. Anko screamed as she went to her high and came inside his mouth. Naruto gratefully accepted the drink as he came up from his endeavor. "A very sweet taste, Anko-chan," Naruto said to her. Anko huffed as she tried to regain her breath. Anko looked up as she began to form a smile. "It seems I am not the only one who is enjoying this," Anko said to him, pointing at his lower region. Naruto looked down as he saw his hard member stretching out. Naruto blushed as he looked at her. Just shows how good Anko-chan is, Naruto said to her. Anko blushed as she crawled to his member. Naruto felt a weird arousal from her as she crawled to him. Anko smiled as she took his member in her hand. Anko slightly gasped at the size of it. He is so big, I haven't seen one this big ever. Nothing came close to this, Anko thought as she slowly swallowed the thick rod. Naruto slightly gasped as he felt Anko's slippery throat on his. Naruto groaned as Anko began to move back and forth with her hands still over his member. Naruto twitched a bit as he felt Anko grab his balls and twirl them in her hand. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he looked at her. So Anko-chan thinks that she can beat me so easily, huh? Naruto thought as he managed to sit up. Naruto suddenly grabbed Anko's head as he moved her down from a normal blowjob into a deep throat as he felt the furthest reaches of her throat. Anko gasped at his actions, but quickly recovered as he violated her mouth. Anko smiled as he moved back, revealed the thick, wet meat stick. If Naru-kun thought that was good, maybe I should use these, Anko said to him as she showed him her S. Naruto looked at her and gulped. Okami, this woman is going to be the end of me, Naruto thought as Anko rubbed her big, soft S over his member. Naruto groaned as he felt the soft and plush feeling of her assets on his body. Anko soon began to like the top of his as she swirled it in her mouth. Anko smiled as she suddenly felt him member tighten. Anko shook his faster as she waited in anticipation for his load. Naruto couldn't handle the pleasure as he released inside her mouth. Anko-chan! Naruto yelled as he leaned back. Anko took his load in her mouth as she managed to swallow everything. Anko smiled as she looked at him. Are you done, Naru-kun? Anko asked him. Naruto looked at her and faster than she could register, he got up and faced her. So hubby Haim thinks that she can control me, huh? Naruto said to her with a smile. Anko smiled at him with a nod. Well then, Anko-chan, get down on all fours, Naruto told her. Anko smirked at the thought of being ordered and nodded. Anko turned around and got on all fours just like Naruto told her. Naruto suddenly knelt behind he as he smiled. You are mine, Anko-chan, now and forever, Naruto said to her as he plunged into her body. Anko gasped at the sheer size of his as it filled her to the brim. Naruto put his hands over her thighs as he continued to drive her crazy. Anko couldn't hold her S as she continued to be screwed by her blonde Hanyu mate. Yes, me Naru-kun, me harder. Anko yelled as Naruto increased his thrusts inside her body. Anko felt the immense pleasure as she was taken on the ride of her life. Naruto suddenly gripped her hair as he moved faster, causing her to go insane. Anko-chan, I can't hold out, Naruto said to her. Anko was reaching her high as she moved her hips. Come inside me, Naru-kun, make me your bitch, I love you, Naruto-kun, Anko said to him. Naruto smiled as he closed his eyes. Anko-chan. Naruto yelled as he came. Naruto-kun. Anko yelled also. Both screamed as their fluids mixed as the two fell down exhausted. Anko smiled as she laid on Naruto's chest. That was perfect, Naruto-kun, I never had such a good time, Anko said as she kissed his cheek. Naruto smiled as he kissed her cheek. You do know that we aren't done, right? Naruto said to her. Anko suddenly opened her eyes and looked at him. She suddenly smiled as she got up. Try not to tire yourself out, Naru-kun, she told him. Naruto scoffed. I am a stamina freak for a reason, Anko-chan, Naruto said as he embraced her again as the two went another round. Is finished. Warning ended. Naruto and Anko walked out of the steamy bathroom as they looked to see most of the house smirking at them. So I take it that things got intense? Shizune asked them. Naruto smiled as he walked past them. You heard the noises, you should be able to tell Shizune-chan, Naruto said to her with a smile. Shizune chuckled as she followed Naruto downstairs. Everyone soon went downstairs as they continued their normal routines. As Naruto sat on the couch, he decided to speak. Everyone, I am going to go find Kushina soon, Naruto told the. Everyone looked at him and nodded. That being said, does anyone want to go with me? Naruto asked them. Everyone looked at each other and smiled. Anko raised her hand. I will go with you, Naru-kun, Anko said to him. Naruto smiled with a nod at her. Sum raised her hand also. I will go also, it will be fun to meet her, Sum said with a smile. Naruto nodded as he looked for anyone else. We will stay here and monitor Konoha. I think that is for the best right now, Shizune said to him. Naruto nodded with a smile as he got up. Alright then, Naruto said to them. He soon headed for the door. Oh wait, Naruto-kun, why don't you accompany me with some shopping? I need supplies, Shizune said to him. Naruto looked at her and smiled as he held the door wider for her. Come on then, Shizu-chan, Naruto said to her. Shizune smiled as she walked out with him. Be back later, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded as they did idle conversation. Sum suddenly smiled. You know we have to spy, right? She said to them. Everyone looked at her like she was crazy. Why do we need to do that? Haku asked her. Sum turned to her. Oh, don't tell me you aren't interested in what they are going to do, Sum said to her. Haku blushed as she faced the floor. Sum nodded. My point taken. Let's go. This is also good stealth training, Sum said to them. Everyone reluctantly nodded as they all hanged and ran out the door. With Naruto and Shizune, as the Hanyu couple roamed the streets, they tried to ignore the oh-so-hateful glares that people were giving them. Unknown to everyone, Naruto and Shizune evilly smirked. Don't worry, you people will get yours. Don't think I am going to let you off for what you did, both thought as they roamed Konoha. Hokage Mansion. Sarutobi was currently tackling his paperwork as he stressed over the large amount that stacked his office. I swear, there are probably more papers in this office than there are people in Konoha, Sarutobi said to himself. Soon he heard a knock on the door as he looked up. Oh Kami, he said as he sighed. Come in, he reluctantly said. Soon Kakashi came in with Sasuke and Sakura as they appeared in front of the Hokage. Sarutobi narrowed his eyes as he looked at the two. What is it, Kakashi, and why are Sasuke and Sakura here? He asked the copy ninja. Kakashi made an eye smile as he looked at the Hokage. I have a request, Hokage-sama, he said to him. Sarutobi sighed as he took a puff of smoke. I don't like this already, he thought. What is it? He asked Kakashi. Kakashi cleared his throat as he decided to speak. Please allow Sasuke and Sakura to fight Naruto and Shizune, he said to him. No, Sarutobi simply said to him. Kakashi's sweat dropped as he looked at the third. Why not? He asked him. Why should I? First of all, Sakura, right, there isn't even a shinobi, and I said that the Chunin exams would be the opportunity to fight, Sarutobi explained to him. Kakashi nodded. Please reconsider, Hokage-sama. I have seen Sakura and she has come a long way considering she technically didn't graduate. She has been roamed to be the next genjutsu mistress, Kakashi said to him. Sarutobi rolled his eyes as he continued to hear Kakashi out. Please think of it as a preliminary match, plus I have heard that a lot of people around Konoha want to see a rematch of Naruto and Shizune versus Sasuke and Sakura, Kakashi said to him. Sarutobi narrowed his eyes. So are you trying to bully Naruto-kun and Shizune-san just for your training? He asked. Of course not, Hokage-sama. This is just a practice to see how far they have come in a few weeks, Kakashi said to him. Sarutobi sighed as he looked at Sasuke and Sakura nod. So you seriously think that these two have improved a lot? He asked the Jonin. Yes, I do, Hokage-sama, Kakashi said to him. Fine, Kakashi. They can fight. But if Sasuke and Sakura lose, then you are being demoted to Chunin, Sarutobi said with a smile. Kakashi looked at him and nodded in gratitude. I have faith that they won't lose, Kakashi said as he escorted Sasuke and Sakura out. Sarutobi sighed as he took out a Chunin demotion paper. I might as well sign this thing now. There is no way those two can beat Naruto and Shizune. All Sasuke has done is D-rank missions, and Sakura, she shouldn't even be using jutsu. Oh well, it will be fun to see Kakashi's face, Sarutobi said with a smirk as he summoned an Anbu. He gave the instructions to the Anbu as he shunshined off. With Naruto and Shizune. As they walked around, Naruto and Shizune smiled as they walked into a weapons shop. As they walked inside, both looked around at the various weapons on the wall. Soon they came up to man who coughed, showing his face covered in soot. "Gee, good morning, how may I help you today?" he asked them. Naruto and Shizune smiled as they looked around. Naruto soon spotted a sword that seemed to be drawn to him. Naruto felt a strange aura from it as he grabbed it. Naruto unsheathed the blade to see it was finely made. Naruto didn't know much about swords, but he did spend time trying to understand them, and this sword seemed to be calling for him. Like it wanted him specifically. "How much for this sword?" Naruto asked the man. The man took the sword and looked at it. "Oh my sir, you have found a splendid sword. I can feel that this sword wants you as its owner." "This sword is called Chiyuru, Blood Knight," the man said to him. Naruto smiled at the name. "That sword is perfect for me. I can only think of how great it will feel to slice through the Uchiha with it," Naruto thought. Shizune smirked as she looked at the sword. "So how much is it, Oji-san?" Shizune asked him. The man smiled as he looked at them. "This sword is around 234,384 yen, he said to them. Naruto and Shizune nodded as they were about to pay until they were stopped by the man. "Since this sword favors the blonde so much, I will cut the price in half. It is now 117,188 yen, the man said to them. Naruto and Shizune smiled at each other and nodded. Naruto quickly paid for the sword as the man packaged it for him. "Treat the sword with care," the man told him. Naruto nodded. "I will. Thank you for this, Oji-san," Naruto said as he and Shizune left. As they walked the streets, Naruto looked over his weapon. He turned to Shizune. "Kind of ironic that this sword is called Chiyuru," Naruto told her. Shizune nodded with a smile. "It is definitely the sword to be used on the invasion," she told him. Naruto nodded with an evil chuckle. "I know that is right," he said to her. As the two walked, they were suddenly stopped by an Anbu. Naruto and Shizune narrowed their eyes at the man with the mask. "What do you want?" Naruto asked him. The man looked at Naruto and sighed. "I am sorry to disturb you, but you and your girlfriend right there are going to be fighting Uchiha Sasuke and Sakura Haruno in the Chunin exam stadium in 5 hours from now," he said to them. Naruto and Shizune looked at each other and sighed. "Do we have a choice?" they asked him. The man shook his head. "Sorry, but you don't. That is an order. Goodbye," he said as he shunshined out of sight. Naruto and Shizune looked at each other and smiled. "Oh well, we have something fun to do," Naruto said to her. Shizune smirked evilly as she showed her sharp canine teeth. "It seems the emo and his bitch still don't know their place. They must really want to die badly, though I am not going to complain. I will give that pink bitch an even bigger kicking than the academy, a much bigger kicking," Shizune said to him. Naruto smirked. "We might as well prepare for our fight," Naruto said to her. Shizune nodded in agreement as the Hanyu couple shunshined home. Unknown to them, Sume and her group overheard the news as they smiled. "Are we going to watch?" Kin asked her. Enko smiled. "Hell yeah we are. I can't wait to see the Uchiha and his fangirl get plowed into the dirt," Enko said to them. Everyone nodded as they shunshined home also. Namikaze compound. As everyone reached home, Naruto and Shizune smiled. "I guess you guys heard the news," Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded with a smile as Naruto opened the door. "We are going to watch you beat the crap out of Sasuke and Sakura," Haku said with a smile. Naruto and Shizune nodded as everyone went inside. Uchiha compound. Sasuke laid in his training field as he looked at the destroyed trees and practice targets. Sasuke smirked as he laid there. "In 5 hours I will show the Dobi why he shouldn't mess with the natural order of things," Sasuke said as he got up and walked inside. Sakura's house. The pink howler monkey was currently packing her and sealing her weapons for battle for her rematch against Shiz. That academy day had been a real wake-up call for Sakura as she remembered the day. I will make you pay, Sakura declared. Flashback. Worthless, useless, these are your traits, Shizune said as she held Sakura in her hand like she was nothing but an insect. Shizune laughed manically as she tore Sakura's body apart. Sakura felt her end coming until she passed out from the pain. The next thing she knew, she was inside the hospital room with lots of bandages on her body. What happened? Sakura wondered. She suddenly shot her eyes open. That's right, that girl nearly killed me, Sakura said to herself. Sakura fumed as she remembered the events. I have much to learn, and because of her I don't think I will graduate. Well, no matter. I will kill the damn girl, she will regret the day she crossed me. When I beat her, Sasuke will come to love me, Sakura said with a smile. I know the perfect thing to work on for her, Sakura thought as she laid in the bed. Flashback end. That has only strengthened my resolve. You won't beat me again, you bitch, Sakura said with a smile. 5 hours later, Chunin Exam Stadium, 4 o'clock p.m. The stadium was packed with people as everyone couldn't wait for Sasuke and Sakura to put the demon and his bitch in their place. As the stadium filled, the other members of Naruto's family filled the sections. Oh, this is going to be good, Kiba said with excitement. Haku and everyone else nodded. I know, right? I wonder how long Sakura will be in the hospital now, Haku said with a smile. I wonder if she is even going to survive along with that Uchiha, Zabuza said to them. If they do, then it is only because Naru-kun and Shizu-chan want that, Sum said, making everyone nod. Sarutobi and the rest of the Jonin came into place as everyone waited. I can't wait to see this, Asuma said to them. Kurenai smirked. My Naruto is going to beat that Uchiha to the ground, Kurenai boldly said to him. Asuma's eyes narrowed. Care for a wager? He asked her. Kurenai sighed. Fine, what is it? She asked him. If I win, you break up with Naruto and date me, Asuma said to her. Kurenai shook her head in disappointment. And if you win, I leave you alone from now on, Asuma said to her. Kurenai quirked up an eyebrow. Fine deal, but you will leave me alone when he wins, Kurenai said to him. Asuma smirked. If he wins, Asuma said to her. Kakashi and Guy decided to interfere. Oh well, let's see then, Kakashi said to them. Guy nodded with his blinding smile as he faced them. Their youth will explode on the field today, Guy said to them. Everyone's sweat dropped, but nodded. Even the rookie 9 were here for the fight. That kid has no chance against Sasuke, Ino said with a smile. Shikamaru looked at her. I don't think so, Ino. I think Naruto is going to win, Shikamaru said to her. Ino huffed and turned her head. Whatever, Shikamaru, Ino blatantly said to him. Shikamaru sighed. Troublesome, Shikamaru said to himself. If that blonde tries to defy destiny, then he is screwed. One can't defy destiny, Neji said to them. Tenten shook her head. I think Naruto can win. We can now see his abilities since the previous person was a coward in the prelims, Tenten said to him. Neji huffed and continued to look at the stadium. Lee went on about youth as Choji munched away at his chips. Soon Sarutobi stood in the middle of the field. We will have an exhibition match between Naruto, Shizune and Sasuke Sakura, Sarutobi yelled. Soon the 4 people came into view as they stood across from each other. Sasuke and Sakura smirked as Naruto and Shizune talked to each other through their mental link. Sarutobi nodded. First match. Shizune Kato vs Sakura Haruno, Sarutobi yelled. Everyone cheered for Sakura to beat the demon's mate as they boosted Sakura's confidence. Naruto and Sasuke moved out of the field. Naruto passed Shizune and whispered into her ear. Try not to kill her, he said as he went out of sight. Shizune smirked, but nonetheless nodded. Sarutobi let his hand down. Hajime, he said as he backed up. Sakura smiled as she took out a kunai and threw it at Shizune. Shizune showed a look of indifference as she grabbed the kunai. Too slow, pink bitch, Shizune said to her. Sakura smirked as she pivoted her foot and disappeared. Shizune smirked as she gave a fake impressed reaction. Oh, so the bitch learned some moves, Shizune said as she twirled the kunai. Sakura appeared behind Shizune with a smile. It seems you haven't been training, you are so slow now, Sakura said as she brought her foot out to strike. Sakura gasped as she saw Shizune disappear. Sakura spun around and looked around for Shizune. Shizune's voice echoed in the stadium. So the pink bitch is trying to grow a pair now, well bring it, Shizune said to her. Sakura smirked. So come out of hiding, she said to her. Shizune smiled. Alright, she said as Sakura gasped in pain. Sakura looked to see Shizune's fist collied with her stomach. Shizune smirked as she followed up with a kick to the face, sending Sakura into a tree. Shizune smiled as she looked at her work. Soon Sakura disappeared in a puff of smoke. Kage Bunshin, huh? Not bad, but I have had enough of this stupid genjutsu, Shizune said as she dispelled the jutsu. Shizune smiled as she dispelled one more time in case the genjutsu was double layered. Sakura smiled as she thought Shizune was still in her genjutsu. Now your beating comes, Sakura said as she ran out. The crowd cheered as Sakura's steps quickened. This is the end, she said as she brought a kunai out. Shizune smiled as she turned around and slammed Sakura in the stomach, making a massive impact sound. Sakura fell to her knees as she looked up at Shizune. You broke the genjutsu? She asked her. Shizune laughed as she looked at Sakura. No duh bitch, a genjutsu of that level can't do anything to me, and people call you the next genjutsu mistress, no in way, Shizune said to her. Sakura stood back up as she threw out a punch that Shizune easily dodged. You are still too slow, and you still don't know your place, Shizune said as she ducked under the punch and gave Sakura a sharp uppercut to the chin. Sakura groaned as she fell back, trying not to fall. Shizune smirked to her. So you think I don't train, huh? Well, in 4 hits you will be out cold, Shizune said to her. Sakura scoffed as she got up. Bring it, bitch, Sakura said to her. Shizune smirked. Gladly, Shizune said as she disappeared. Sakura was suddenly slammed in the stomach as she was grabbed by Shizune. Oh come on, that was just one punch, we still have 3 more to do, Shizune said to her. The crowd looked in horror as Sakura, the next genjutsu mistress, was getting her ass kicked again. Everyone looked at the fight as Kakashi stared wide-eyed at the match. Shizune smiled as she sent another punch, making Sakura hit the floor. Sakura tried to get up, but met the end of Shizune's fist again. Sit the down bitch, Shizune said as she slammed her fist into Sakura, making her crash again. Sakura gritted her teeth at this display. She trained to get stronger, but she was still weak compared to Shizune. Sakura, get your UP, how can you be called my rival if you lose to such a bitch, Ino yelled from the stands. Sakura looked at her. Ino pig, that is right, I can still fight, Sakura said as she got up. Shizune smirked again as she enveloped some chakra into her fist. I said. Her fist met Sakura's head again as she slammed her to the ground. Sit the down, Shizune yelled as the ground went up in dust. Everyone covered their eyes as they tried to look at the arena. Soon the dust settled to see a smiling Shizune holding a battered and bruised Sakura by the throat inside a crater. Shizune looked at the crowd. Someone get this trash out of my sight, Shizune yelled. Soon medics came and took her away. Shizune smiled as she went upstairs. Well, that didn't take long, Kiba said to them. Everyone nodded. Yeah, I figured that she would have lasted longer. Oh well, Hana said to them. Everyone nodded again. I promise not to with her, Kin said to them. Everyone nodded in agreement. Sarutobi walked down to the field. Next and last match. Naruto Uzumaki vs Sasuke Uchiha, Sarutobi announced. Don't kill him, Naru-kun, Shizune said to him. Naruto smirked. Wouldn't think of it, he said as he shunshined down. Soon Naruto and Sasuke stared at each other. Chunin Exam Stadium. Everyone was silent as they looked at the part of the stadium with a giant hole in it. Some of the viewers stared in horror as they saw a battered Sakura carried off by the medics. Others turned to see Shizune still on the field smiling at the pink girl's defeat. Soon that silence was broken by the sound of laughing in the crowd. Ha 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 wow. That wasn't even 10 minutes, ha ha ha, Kiba laughed as he fell to the floor. Everyone looked to see the others laughing also. How the hell do you go down in 4 hits? That was just sad ha 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 ha, Sum laughed as she held her stomach. Everyone in the audience snarled as they turned to Shizune. You damn bitch, I don't know how, but you cheated. There is no way you can have that much power, a random civilian said to her. Shizune smiled as she turned her head. Hey, it's not my fault the bitch can't fight. If anything, she should get her in license as a ninja revoked for such stupid sense of fighting, Shizune said to them. Everyone heard more laughing as they turned to see Hana laughing also. Got that right Shizune-san, you definitely got that right, Hana said trying to hold the laughter in, but oh no avail. Even up in the upper stands someone was laughing. Kakashi, what was that? You said Sakura I improved, but that was just awful, Sarutobi said to him stifling in laughter. Kakashi hid his expression through his mask, but wasn't pleased with the fight. Hokage-sama, that was just luck, Kakashi said to him. I don't think so Kakashi, Sakura got her snobby kicked, Kurenai said to him. Kakashi cursed as he had to now rely on Sasuke for his job. Hokage-sama, I can assure you and Kurenai that the next fight won't go so easily, Kakashi said to the Sarutobi and Kurenai looked at him and smile. Sure Kakashi. Well let's get this over with, Sarutobi said as he shunshined down to the arena. Kakashi went to his thoughts as he looked at Naruto smiling in a corner. It won't go your way anymore Naruto, I don't know how strong you are, but compared to Sasuke you are only a stepping stone, Kakashi thought as he looked at the blonde Hanyu, clearly Kakashi was in for a big surprise. Naruto smiled as he felt Kakashi's intent settled on him. Naruto sighed as he continued to smile as he saw Sakura carried out of the arena. That little bitch still doesn't know her place, it astounds me that she isn't dead yet, but I will have Shizune remedy that in due time, Naruto thought an evil smile across his face. Naruto turned to see Sarutobi come down to the arena and raised Shizune's arm. Winner. Shizune Kato, he said to everyone. Shizune bowed, but it seemed there were still some hostile people. Hokage-sama, that is bull, that bitch cheated didn't she? Some woman yelled. Sarutobi's ki flared as he looked at the audience. Shut your mouth, Shizune won and that is that now get over it so we can get to the next match, Sarutobi said to them. Everyone reluctantly nodded and sat back down. Sarutobi turned to Shizune. Good job Shizune, you have excellent skills as a shinobi, keep it up, he said to her. Shizune nodded. Thank you Hokage-sama, Shizune said as she began to walk away. Next and last match. Naruto Uzumaki vs Sasuke Uchiha, Sarutobi yelled. Soon the stadium rang with loud cheering as the famed asshole, Uchiha came down in all his eminence. Sasuke smirked as he looked to see Naruto in the stands. Get down here Dobi, I will show you why you can never surpass me, Sasuke said to him. Naruto narrowed his eyes as Shizune came up behind him. Shizune hugged his muscular body as he turned to face her. Shizune had one of the widest smiles of her life. Have fun Naruto-kun, but not too much fun. We still have Kyuubi's promise to fulfill, Shizune said to him. Naruto smiled as he turned to her. Kill him nice and slow. Don't worry Shizu-chan, I am only going to make him see that he isn't Kami as he meets the end of fist, Naruto said to her. Shizune nodded as she gave him a quick kiss. Kick his Naruto-kun, Shizune said to him. Naruto nodded as he shunshined into the field. Man Sasuke you are so impatient, what didn't losing in the academy teach you anything? Naruto asked him. Sasuke sneered as he looked at Naruto. You know as well as I do that I was holding back on you, the fact that I even let you touch me at all shish. OWS my mercy to you, Sasuke said to him. The crowd soon laughed at Naruto as they nodded in agreement with Sasuke. Haha that demon child will never be able to touch Sasuke-sama, an older woman said. Everyone laughed and nodded. That's right Sasuke will put that damn brat in his place once and for all, a man said, putting his 2 cents in. Hey, maybe if we are lucky he might, accidentally, kill the demon's brat. Now that would be a sight to see. As people made their comments, Sum and the rest were not dealing well with this at all. I am so going to chop everyone to pieces for talking to the Gaki like this, Zabuza said with his eyes show annoyance. Everyone nodded. I am so going to love feeding them to my snakes, Anko said as she contemplated over how full her snakes would be. Suddenly an idea went into Anko's head. Anko soon stood up and smiled as she shouted. Let's all make a bet on who wins, Naruto or Sasuke. Place your bets, people, Anko yelled. Sum, Kiba, Zabuza, Hana, and Haku sweat dropped, but soon smiled. Everyone mumbled, but smiled. No one thought twice as they placed their bets. 120,000 yen on Sasuke-sama, someone said. Anko smiled as she went around the arena taking bets. Surprisingly, none went for Naruto. Anko smiled as she saw Tuki and Ayame vote for Naruto. Anko nodded and ran back to her seat. Anko looked at her group. Everyone in the group went for Naruto as Anko put them on paper. Alright, the bets are made, there is no going back, people, Anko yelled. Everyone nodded as they were sure that this win was a shoo-in for Sasuke. Kurenai smiled along with Kakashi and Asuma. So who did you vote for? Asuma asked them. Sasuke, of course, Kakashi said with a smile. My Naruto-kun, Kurenai said to him. Asuma looked at Kurenai. Why him? He asked her. I like voting for the underdog and Naruto-kun won't lose. I don't date weak men, Asuma, so Kakashi prepare to pay up, and if you don't I will make a genjutsu of your worst nightmare, Kurenai said with a smile. Kakashi sweat dropped, but nodded, acting like it wouldn't make a difference anyway. After the final rounds of applause, Sarutobi sent his hand down. Hajime, he said as he shunshined back up to the top. Sasuke smirked as he got into his Uchiha stance. He looked to see Naruto hadn't adopted a stance yet. Naruto was in some thought. Anko, you are so crafty, it looks like I can afford some things now, Naruto thought with a smile. He was soon brought out of his thoughts as he heard a yell. Naruto looked to see Sasuke charging at him. Naruto smirked as Sasuke brought a fist out. Naruto immediately blocked, but saw Sasuke pivot his foot. Not bad, Naruto said as Sasuke disappeared. Naruto simply ducked as Sasuke brought a kick over his head. Sasuke gasped, but suddenly backflipped away from Naruto. Hey Dobi, this is a fight, or are you running away from me? Sasuke said to him. Naruto sighed as he scratched his hair. Listen Sasuke, I really don't want to deal with this right now, so for your own safety will you please just forfeit? Naruto asked him. Truthfully, he was hoping Sasuke would refuse, just so he could kick his again. Sasuke smirked as he looked at Naruto. HMPH, you should be honored to fight me, I am not forfeiting and you will kneel before my power, Sasuke said as he made some hand signs. Kaden. Gokaku no Jutsu, Sasuke yelled as a giant fireball made its way towards Naruto. The crowd cheered as the ball inched closer. Naruto was soon engulfed by the fire as it hit a part of the stadium wall. Boom. Sasuke smirked at the damage and turned around. Rest in hell Dobi, Sasuke said the prayer as he walked away. Soon he stopped to hear laughing coming from the fire. He turned around to see the blonde come out of the fire virtually unscathed. They say that mastering that jutsu proves you a man in the Uchiha, but what we have here is a sorry brat that thinks he is at the top of the world because of that pity. Full fireball, Naruto said with a laugh. Sasuke's anger clouded his judgment as he ran back at Naruto. Shut up Dobi, Sasuke yelled as he brought a punch out. Naruto smirked as he stood still. Slam. Sasuke did his hardest punch as his fist met Naruto's face, he smirked at the blonde. Kakashi and Asuma sighed as they looked at Kurenai. Sorry Kurenai, but you lose and you are mine, Asuma said to her. Kurenai turned to him and smiled then looked back. Kakashi sighed. Kurenai, he lost. Sasuke is too strong for him, Kakashi told her. Kurenai smiled as she pointed at the arena. I doubt that Kakashi, Kurenai said to him. Kakashi looked to see Sasuke smiling, but soon he saw Naruto move. Naruto smiled as he grabbed Sasuke's hand. Sasuke gasped as he tried to fight the grip, but Naruto wasn't going to let go. Wow, I can't even tell if you are any good. I mean, sure, I beat you with one hit in the academy, but I was sure you could punch better than that, but I guess not, Naruto said as he sent his right foot at Sasuke. Sasuke smirked as he used his other hand to block, but was soon sent flying as he crashed into the opposite wall. Naruto sighed as he looked at the crowd. Seriously, you all think I can't beat this? How can you praise such crappy fighting? Naruto asked them. Everyone couldn't say anything, because most were either too shocked or too angry at Naruto to say anything. Naruto soon turned to see Sasuke with his eyes red. Ah, the Sharingan, how original you are, Sasuke, Naruto said to him in sarcasm. Sasuke smiled. Whatever, Dobi, you can't stop me now that I have awakened, you will know the true power of the Uchiha, Sasuke said to him. Naruto nodded. Yeah, will you just come on already, Naruto said to him. Sasuke smiled as he added chakra to his feet. Soon Sasuke ran at an amazing speed towards Naruto. Naruto could easily follow Sasuke as he saw him turn to the left and right as he got close to him. Naruto smiled as he added chakra to his fist. Might as well start my fun, Naruto said as he punched the ground. Soon the ground shook violently as the Sasuke stopped running to see Naruto smirked with his hand in the ground. Sasuke sneered as he felt the earth shake hard under his feet. Everyone was surprised by the small earthquake, but Shizune and the rest seemed to have smiles on their faces with looks of indifference. I wonder if anyone can make you go all out in this timeline, Naru-kun, Shizune said to herself. Sasuke soon fell to the ground as he saw Naruto disappear. My eyes can't follow him, Sasuke said in a sudden realization. Of course they can't, Naruto said as he kicked Sasuke forward. Naruto smiled as he disappeared again. Sasuke screamed as he saw Naruto in front of him. Naruto smiled as he did a spin kick and sent Sasuke into the air. Everyone watched in horror as the Uchiha was toyed with by the demon. Kakashi and Asuma had their mouths to the ground as Kurenai gave a confident grin. Enko and the group were smiling at the feats that Naruto was doing. I wonder what I will buy with all the money we will get, Enko said in her thoughts. Sarutobi turned to Kakashi. Maybe you should sign this now, because just from this I find it surprising that he even finished the first and second stages of the exam, Sarutobi said to him. Kakashi cursed under his mask. How is Naruto this good? He was the dead last of the academy, Kakashi said to them. Enko hearing him shunshined next to him.